I know what you're thinking. Actually, now what you're probably thinking is, it sounds like that person has lost their voice. To that I say, correct, I have. This morning I woke up with no voice, but it is a testament to the passion I have for early career talent that I tried to stay silent all day and will power through to the best of my ability. And thank you, Tamara, for taking the lion's share of speaking
We've
tonight.
got this, absolutely.
Now what you're probably thinking is, why are there two of them up there? I thought TED Talks are usually one person.
Usually.
Also correct. But when Mara and I thought about the talent crisis and our perspectives, we both work for Turnberry Solutions, as you heard. We decided to tag team this TED Talk, much like we tag team leadership of the CREW program. CREW focuses on hiring, training, mentoring, and supporting those within the first 3 years of their career, so 0 to 3 years of experience. Mara said, as you heard in the intro, Mara has spent the last 6 years with those consultants, with that talent, interviewing hundreds of them and getting to know how much they really have to offer. And I spend my days in and out with our clients, hearing about the shortages and the gaps that they feel, why they just can't find the right person for the roles that they have, and trying to convince them why they should take a chance on early career. So we thought the combination of those perspectives were powerful, and we wanted to make sure that you knew it is our professional mission to help solve that talent crisis. The two of us are actually particularly passionate about it because we are also products of the program, as you heard in our introductions, both having gone through the program. And as you'll hear as we introduce each other a little further, we are not typical technology hires.
Awesome. So as Molly shared, we have backgrounds now. We've been in the consulting space, but coming in, neither of us really had the backgrounds you might expect. Lydia, in her undergrad, studied rhetoric and theater, took not a single business or technology class, but then dove into her first role with CREW. And she was training project managers in Jira. She was writing in HTML. She was maintaining financial reporting for 4 large projects across technology services teams at a large international retailer, having previously never heard of Jira, not having spent a lot of time in Excel or writing code.
Mara studied dance, French, and communications. Her first role was as a process analyst at a manufacturing company local here in town, where she was writing queries in SQL, configuring Salesforce, and facilitating testing. Prior to her role, she'd never heard of SQL, Salesforce, or use cases at all.
No.
Yet she was tremendously successful. Why is that? Why was she able to be successful? Well, we give the testament to the CREW program, and I would like to be very clear that we are not here to sell you CREW. If by some chance you're interested in talking to us about it as a happy accident, so be it. But we are here to talk about early career and how training and mentorship and support, along with bringing the right people in, is what's going to make all of the difference. IT, the world of IT can be accessible, but it is an investment for employers, and we're here to talk to you about that. Fortunately, the return on investment is extremely high.
So we'll start just with a little of our history and how this program came to be. 13 years ago, there was a gap in the marketplace. Our clients, Fortune 500 companies in the Twin Cities, some of the people in this room today, were looking to fill mid-level roles that are commonly open on project teams. So project managers, business analysts, product owners, and scrum masters, technical roles. But they didn't have a ton of time to bring these people up to speed, and they didn't have a huge budget to go out into the marketplace and find these people. And that's where we came in. We flipped the script and decided we would do things differently and focus on growing that talent rather than buying it. What does this mean? For us, it was a heavy investment in campus recruiting, going beyond the resume, which we'll talk about as we go, looking outside of just those traditional business and technology degrees, focusing on soft skills and aptitude, and then following up with what Dave mentioned, that coaching, that mentoring, spending time so that these consultants, these early career hires, could be successful. And we helped our clients recognize that there was value, to Lydia's point, in that early career talent. And so our clients either borrowed our model and started their own junior talent programs or outsourced their hiring to us entirely. And for many of them, we still provide their junior talent exclusively to help that talent pipeline grow.
13 years later, we're still doing it. We've had over 2,000 consultants in the program and really proven the model, right? This can work for companies to bring in a recent grad with 0 years of experience and grow them into a technology leader. However, the problem still persists. Obviously, we're here today having a conference about the talent crisis in technology. We need more and more of these people. And I think in today's economic climate, it's even more, or particularly challenging right now. And we get it. Your budgets are tight. Your headcount is going away. there's big tech layoffs. All the while, your team still has these ambitious goals that you need to get done, and somehow your best talent is getting poached with a salary raise of $30,000 at some other company who manages to have that budget. So it's really challenging. It's a real problem. But the good news is that there's a solution, and it is junior talent, and we're here today to talk to you about that solution. When working with junior talent, if there was one point that we could say to you, you want to do it, what is the one point we want to tell you to help you do a better job at junior talent? It would be this. Stop being so picky about the resume. Thank you. So here's what we actually mean by that. You have one open role on your team. You are very busy. You're like, I don't have time to hire someone who's never worked in this tool. They need to have at least a couple of years in this environment, or they're not going to get up to speed. It's going to take me too much time. It's simply not worth it. In theory, early career talent sounds great. In reality, I just simply don't have time. We hear it all of the time. We need you to stop looking at the bullets on a job description and stop looking at the missing pieces on the resume and think about the human being. And what is the potential that this human being brings, and what is it that you can do to help grow this person in the space that you're in? That's the investment. So the rest of this TED Talk is how you can actually do that. In our almost 2 decades of combined experience, we've boiled it down to 3 things that we're really looking for when we're interviewing that's going to show that this early career person can be successful on your team.
And those 3 things are humility, curiosity, and enthusiasm. We know there is so much more that makes a person successful. This is not an exhaustive list, but when we thought about what are the most important things in our 12 precious minutes to get across to this group, and it's these. So we'll start with humility. When we look back on the best hires we've had and some of the more challenging hires we've had, we think about this. When we hired those students who on paper looked perfect, they had 4.0s, stellar internships, great technology skills, if they didn't have that humility, they fizzled out. When we ignored those signs of entitlement in the interview process, those consultants were more concerned with having recognition, doing high profile work, and they weren't as concerned with just rolling up their sleeves and getting the work done. When we find humble consultants, those that are early in their careers and ready to take on any task, embrace feedback, we know that humility means coachability. They want to say yes, they're excited to help, they're truly open to feedback and receptive to making changes, and they want to add value to your teams in the ways that will genuinely make an impact. The second is curiosity. Again, looking back on the hires we've had, there have been hires that had all the right foundations, but maybe we're just missing that curiosity. What that meant when they got on site is that their desire to learn was low. And we know as recent grads come into the workforce, especially from computer science degrees, they want to work on sexy technologies, things that are new, things that are cutting edge. We cannot fault them for that. But we need those consultants, our early career hires, to be curious about learning about their clients, to learn about their industry, to understand legacy systems, to have realistic expectations. Those who are curious are investing time in learning on their own. They enjoy picking up new skills. They see the value in learning new systems, in learning old systems, whatever they're exposed to, and they want to know what you're working on and start to get better at it. And the third one is something Dave talked a little bit about, but that enthusiasm, that energy and excitement over and over makes such a difference. Someone who's early in their career coming in with a positive attitude, genuinely ready to learn, can uplift a whole team. We see it, you've maybe felt it on your teams, we've felt it on ours, and clients give us that feedback. They want to dive in, they want to work hard, they're doing it with a smile on their face. And it makes them easier to engage with. When someone is enthusiastic and genuinely wants to be working with you and be on site or partnering with your team, you want to give them feedback. You want to invest in them. We know, and you all know, we can teach things like Agile. We can teach SQL. I'm an example. We can teach cloud computing, how to manage conflict. It is harder to teach genuine enthusiasm, showing up every day, remaining positive, being excited about what you're working on. But we can identify enthusiasm in the hiring process, and we can cultivate it through mentorship.
We will caveat, there are some roles where you actually need relevant experience in some way. Of course, that is true. You notice that Mara and I did not enter as Java developers for our first roles out of school with our backgrounds as they were. But are there ways you can position the roles that you have so that the person entering in will be able to do the work and then grow them into that higher skills needed role? So for example, you've got that developer on your team. Could you hire someone in early career to do QA work and shadow and apprentice and sit side by side and learn the ropes so that in 8 months or 12 months or 24 months, they're able to take on more and more of that? Could you take a Scrum Master opening and bring in a coordinator who's going to shadow and listen and partner and grow into that role over time? when you're doing that and bringing those people in who have humility and curiosity and enthusiasm, you'll be surprised how quickly they can grow into that. And it's hard, especially if those of you in corporate roles where you have pay grades and banding and leveling. It can be really hard to think about how to position a role differently so that someone can grow. But the minute you do, you're going to open the door to so much more early career talent.
And part of why we're here tonight is to figure out, once we've got those people in the state, in our companies, once those humble, curious, enthusiastic grads are in the workforce, what helps them succeed? And it is that care and training and mentorship and encouragement. And it's not just on their managers or their mentors, it's on all of us. It's why we're in this room as technology and business leaders. It's up to us to provide. And so we wanted to provide examples of how we do this at Crew and Turnberry. I know there are more ideas in this room, so as we network later this evening, we'd love to hear those. But here are a few if you're looking for ways to get started or things to borrow. So Lydia already referenced this, but if you have junior technology talent coming in, place them alongside or pair them with seasoned engineers or a technical mentor, someone they can actually learn next to, observe, test things out with, and ask questions to. Facilitate ongoing opportunities to connect. This is different at every organization. Maybe it's a book club. Maybe it's a podcast club. Those are in. Maybe it's a monthly lunch. Maybe it's volunteering events outside of work hours. Tara organizes those. They're very fun. But junior talent is eager to connect. They want to build relationships. They want to spend time with us and learn from us and connect. They want to be able to enjoy the time that they're spending with you. The next is something that we've spent a lot of time doing at Turnberry in the last couple of years, and that's investing in employee resource groups. When new hires are coming into the organization, these ERGs can be a place where they find belonging, they can connect with people who share their identities, especially if someone's identity is marginalized in your organization or underrepresented. Connecting them with people like them is so important. And the second part of that we know this room is passionate about, is continuing to double down on DE&I efforts. Building a diverse workforce, creating a culture of inclusion is not easy, we know. There's a lot of ways to do that, but that will help you retain this early career talent that can be so hard to find. This last one we know is a little controversial, and so take it with a grain of salt, but we do think that providing opportunities to connect in person, even a day or two a week for this early career talent, can be crucial. That relationship building, facilitating a sense of shared purpose, even just the opportunity they have to observe professional skills, build business acumen, is so critical. If you can't be in person, that is okay. Remote work has so many benefits. We know many of you are on virtual teams, but that means you just have to be that much more intentional about cultivating a culture where early career talent knows that they can reach out for support and build relationships.
So as we wrap up, we want to tell you a story about a time that this has worked. About 10 years ago, we started partnering with a local Fortune 100 global manufacturing firm. They were doing a global SAP implementation, and they had a talent shortage. They were requiring for cutover analysts, release managers, trainers for QA, you had to have SAP experience to be able to work on this project, which makes sense. It was an SAP implementation. They'd been working with us in different capacities, project coordinators, business analysts, data folks, and they were so short on talent for this SAP project that they decided to take a chance. We truly hired for potential, for the things that we talked about, the ability to learn. I have clear memories in the interview process of Crew consultants calling it SAP, like hadn't even heard of it before, didn't know what it was. But we put together a training in tandem with this client and brought in, over 10 years, almost 200 junior talent consultants. Many of these people, almost half of them, ended up converting into full-time roles there, and we literally changed the face of their technology team. The DE&I process here was huge as well. They were an extremely male-heavy team and mentioned that to us, and so we helped them increase the female dynamic on their team and genuinely changed who is in the manager levels now, who is in those director levels now, and had a huge impact on their teams. So they could do it, so can you. When you are doing this, again, give those junior candidates a chance and embrace the things that you're not going to see on paper. You have to talk to people to get to know them, but look for some of those skills. And then once they're there, care and feeding is critical. Make sure that they feel included and have a place to grow and to mess up and to learn alongside you. So if you just stop being so picky about the resume, get to know the human behind it, you might just be surprised. Thank you so much.